Tree Talking Time is brought to you by Conkey's Outdoors and Stone Creek Hound Supply. Be sure to check them out for all your hound hunting needs. Welcome to Tree Talking Time, where we talk all things tree dogs, from the smallest feists to the largest hounds, treating squirrels to bears and everything in between. And from time to time, we might even run a little fast game.
Me and my nephew was in the Smokies, and we stopped at one of these Five Guy restaurants.
Yeah.
And when they bring the lunch out for the first chair, well, he gets up and gets his lunch, and you switch chairs. Well, when I turned around, this pretty lady was sit down on the side of me. And I told her, I said, boy, I'm not used to things like this. I said, in fast food. She said, what's that? I said, those people are working in there. They moving. She said, where are you from? I said, Louisiana. I said, where do you live? She said, in Atlanta. She said, we've been over to Harriman, Tennessee to pick up a squirrel dog puppy for our grandson. That is something to, for somebody to sit down there.
Yeah.
And I said, well, how is Bill Barger doing? Oh, she turned around and looked at me. She said, how do you know I went to Bill Barger's? I said, I know Bill Barger has squirrel dogs, and I know he lives in Harriman, Tennessee.
Yeah.
She said, well, that's where we were.
That's funny.
Yeah. But that's happened to me more than one time. One time I was in Arkansas, and these people were sitting there, and I walked up behind them and was talking to them, and one of them had a dog box in his truck. And I was waiting for a fellow to come pick up a puppy. I was meeting him up there. And the fellow, I asked him what kind of dog he was hunting. He said, cur, mountain cur. I said, oh, yeah, that's good. He said, what, you hunt squirrel dogs? I said, yeah. He said, what you have? I said, I have some curs and some feist. And I said, I have the Cajun Squirrel Dogs. And when I said that, one of the people that had his back to me, he turned around and looked up. He said, oh, you're the hunting sack man. Right in North Arkansas, just move around and you see a lot of people.
Mm-hmm. For sure.
That's just like the hunting sacks. I never have advertised them, and I sold them in 22 states.
That's pretty impressive.
You
still making them?
Upstate New York is the farthest one. Yeah, my son is in the process of getting his LLC and getting everything over into his name. I'm 81 now.
Yeah.
Very fortunate to be able to still hunt.
Mm-hmm. Oh, for sure.
Yeah, I had 2 hunts last year. I may have told you this before, but I had 2 hunts last year. They called for benefits and auctioned off these 2 hunts. And one went for $2,400 and one went for $2,600.
That's impressive.
And a boy that lives locally does a lot of dirt work and things, and he's a very good person. And he had cancer, and they had one for him 2 years ago, and it went for $3,000.
Wow.
Makes you feel good, and you understand what the people in the neighborhood think of me and my dog.
Yeah, definitely. Before we get too far into this, why don't you introduce yourself?
My name is Carlton Savoy, and I live in South Louisiana, in between Baton Rouge and New Orleans, in a little place called Salamo.
Okay.
81 years old, and I've had a squirrel dog since I was 15. I trained bird dogs, pointers. I've had rabbit dogs, but the squirrel dog was always in the pen. If I rabbit hunted in the morning, I would squirrel hunt in the afternoon.
Nice. Now, what was that first squirrel dog?
It was half collie and beagle.
Okay.
And the name was Bozo.
I like that.
My first Cajun squirrel dog was named Bo.
Okay.
And I got him from Calvin when he was a year old.
Okay.
The first time I brought him in the woods, he treed 2 squirrels bark on one tree, and then he'd go and bark on another tree. And then he'd come back.
Yeah.
He'd leave the tree, but it was to go, straight to another tree.
Yeah.
And we killed one, the other one got away and went in the hole. But he was very, very good.
Yeah.
Easy trained and listen, a hard hunter. And whenever you got ready to come out of the woods, all you had to do is tell him to heel.
There you go.
Repetition
Mm-hmm.
over and over and over again. And he died when he was 16.
Wow.
16 years old. Yeah.
Now I want to back up because I'm really curious because I'm always interested in kind of goofy crossbreds or the Beagle Collie mix. How was it? Did you buy, did you get the dog as a squirrel dog, or was it just like a farm dog that was treeing squirrels? How did that come about?
It was just a dog that one of my uncles had, and he had heart trouble real bad, and he couldn't work,
Mm-hmm.
and he'd sit on the porch and work with those dogs, and he got it to treeing, and it would bark on the trail. But I mean, this was in 60 and 59, 58.
Okay.
Yeah, 1958. So we didn't have access to, a bunch of dogs.
Yeah, that's interesting. What about the squirrel dogs has always kept you, your attention versus, you said you've had rabbit dogs and bird dogs. What about the squirrel dogs what did you gravitate towards?
Well, I hunted with an old man that had one, and I enjoyed it so much that I wanted to stay with it.
Mm-hmm.
And my sons, my kids, grandkids, they loved it. So we just kept going, and we ended up, with some mountain curs and mountain feist, and with the Cajun Squirrel Dogs, and it's just, and the shooting.
Mm-hmm.
I always hunted with a 22 rifle.
Okay.
And I've made some hunts that I just keep backing up from the tree till I could get a clear shot.
Mm-hmm.
And I know of several times that I shot, and the people hunting with me asked, well, where is he? Because I was making some 80-yard, 75, 80-yard shots and hit them in the head. I aimed strictly on the head.
Yeah.
I had 18 one time that I gave to one of my friends, and all of them were shot in the head.
I read an article earlier today that said that you pretty much win this big squirrel contest every year on the opening day.
Yes. The East Ascension, that's the parish I live in.
Okay.
We had a sportsman league.
Mm-hmm.
And I have won that thing more than anyone else. That's still hunting.
Okay.
That's still hunting. But I can make a squirrel come to me with my mouth. Fox squirrels come from 50 yards.
Really? That's interesting.
Yeah. And my grandsons, they picked it up, and I have two of them that started hunting with me when they was 8, 10 years old.
Mm-hmm.
And those boys don't let one get away. They can shoot, and they're in their 20s now, 25.
Mm-hmm.
They still hunt with me.
Nice.
I have 5 grandsons, and all 5 of them hunting fish.
That's awesome.
Yeah. We have some good times.
Now, do you mind sharing your secret? What kind of noise are you making?
It's just a squeal.
Okay.
And if there's a bush around, we have a lot of palmettos here.
Mm-hmm.
What I do is hit that palmetto real hard, or that bush, shake it, and start doing that.
Yeah.
And that squirrel thinks that hawk flew down and got that little squirrel. And they have to come see what it is.
Interesting.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool.
I hunt. I'm not one to sit. I move whenever I hunt,
Mm-hmm.
If I get into them, well, I'll hang around some. And if I kill 2 or 3 and there's none moving, well, I'll move out and I'll come back in there later,
Okay.
So I love the dogs, but I love to still hunt too.
Gotcha. See,
Uh,
I'm the opposite.
did you see the Squirrel Dog Basic, David Osborne?
Oh, yes. The the book, right?
Yes.
Yes. I never saw a copy of it. I do remember seeing years ago where they were for sale back on Squirrel Dog Central, but I never did buy a copy of it.
Yeah. Keaton Boulevard. It's a beautiful picture of him in there,
Okay.
and it talks about Calvin Boutin and
Hmm.
Robert Kimmer. I have been to Robert Kimmer's house,
Yeah. Nice.
and I've uh, I've hunted with Carl Smith.
Okay.
Got the streak.
Yep. You found with some of the legends of the breed.
Yeah.
So what
Uh,
so what made you
I don't.
like the Cajun Squirrel Dogs so much?
It's just you turn them loose in a tree and you go and kill the squirrel. It's just that simple.
Okay.
And you might call it cheating, but I I had both trained. I mean, look, he was a pleasure. And when he was a year old, he'd run a deer sometime, and I didn't try to correct him, till I had him treeing good, and
Hmm.
then I started working on him. And when he'd tree a squirrel, I would go where I could see him good, and if he'd get off the tree, I'd go grab him, put him on the tree, stay on the tree,
Hmm.
back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. And then once I got him to knowing what I meant, if he got off, I buzzed him with the collar. And he got back on. And whenever he'd go back, I'd say, get on the tree. Get on the tree. Well, after a while, I dropped the to get on the tree. And if he looked like he was going to get off, I'd say, and he'd hop, 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 hop. He was the Texas tree champion one weekend and the Louisiana tree champion the next weekend.
There you go.
And we went to North Mississippi, me and two of my friends, and they had both got their dogs from me, and they were just hunting together. Got up there and we drew out together.
What are the odds?
So, boy, they were aggravated. Said they did that on purpose. He said, "They're knocking two of our dogs out of the hunt."
Hmm.
We were walking along, and we had a guide with the Cattlemen's Association president from Mississippi,
Hmm.
and two other uh, visitors came on the hunt. They wanted to see the dogs work. And we'd killed a couple of squirrels. And after a while, I looked up, and there was a sweet gum tree. And I saw a squirrel in it. And those boys were standing there, and I turned around. And I told them, because we always hunt, they have a squirrel in that gum tree over there. Well, here comes one of them, dog. He hit the tree, and he smelled around. And I don't think the squirrel had hit the ground. I think they had just cutting those gumballs, and that's what they were smelling.
Yeah.
And he smelled a little bit, and he left. Well, the other dog came, and he walked around the tree. He got up on the tree, and he barked one time. But he got down and left, so he didn't call him tree. Here comes Bo. And whenever he got about 10 feet from the tree, cleared my throat like that, he hit that tree and hop, hop, hop. I turned around, looked at those two boys. They're standing there shaking their heads. Those other people had no idea what had happened.
Yeah. That's funny.
But he was quite a dog.
Yeah.
And he threw. And now his half sister was Cajun Penny,
Okay.
and I made that cross 7 times.
Wow.
And all the puppies were mighty nice.
Very nice. Now, did you do a lot of competition hunting, or you've been pretty
Yeah,
much just strictly
yeah,
a
we
pleasure
did.
hunter?
No, I did a lot of. Whenever I was younger, we did a lot of hunting.
Okay.
We have stayed in some places on those hunts and those, in the rural places.
Yeah.
Uh, Training dogs, I had a run, uh, 1 by 1/2 wire, and I made the thing 6 by 6 square, and I had it 2 feet off the ground, and
Mhm.
it was 10 feet long.
Yeah.
And I put the puppies on it and let them run the squirrel in that low place, and then I had a little gate I'd pull, slip out, and they'd go up the tree 8 feet, and I let them tree on the tree for a while, and then I'd pull another one, and this run was 8 feet high, and it was 40 feet long,
Okay.
and they'd run it back and forth, teaching them to look up.
Hmm.
And if I'd take a young dog and he wouldn't catch on to it real quick, I'd just tie him back about 10 feet from the run
Hmm.
and turn one of the other dogs loose. And he'd see them having so much fun that when he'd start watching, well, I'd reach back there and unhook him and let him get on it too.
Hmm.
And, if I had, you know, a good amount of squirrels, well, I'd go to the end and I'd pull the gate off, and they'd come running and bail out, hit the ground in front of them, and they'd run it up the tree.
There you go.
So that's how I get it started. Then
Hmm.
I add two pieces of 4-inch PVC pipe, about a foot long, with holes drilled in it and caps on each end.
Okay.
And I put a squirrel in two of those pieces of pipe
Hmm.
and go to the woods with them. And if the squirrels weren't moving and they didn't hit anything, the first couple times I let them get close, and I throw the squirrel in front of them where they'd see it, and they'd run up and tree. So once I got them to doing that pretty good, well, I'd watch them when they were coming. I would sling it out before they got there, so they wouldn't see it, but they had a fresh
Yeah.
trail. And once they treed like that, well, they were ready to go.
Hmm.
And when they
Pretty
were on the
interesting.
run with the 6 by 6 run,
Hmm.
when they were on that run, running the squirrel up and down and barking, I'd bring that pistol and shoot it in the ground while they was running it. They might hesitate, and then they go back,
Yeah.
and that's how got them used to the gun.
Hmm.
And people tell me that they go in the woods and shoot, and the dog would start cowering and everything. But hey, if you was in front of me and I shot and you didn't know I was gonna shoot, you'd do the same thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, and do it while they're busy,
Yep.
and it works much better.
Hmm.
Now, is this all right? This is what you want to hear?
Yeah. No, this is great.
Okay,
I'll be
okay.
honest. I haven't seen anybody use a squirrel tube in a while, but I've heard that from other people that they work well, and obviously it worked well for you.
Mm-hmm. And gun shyness.
Hmm.
Different people have different ways of breaking dogs for gun shyness.
Hmm.
But what always worked for me was I would shoot low power 22 at the house,
Hmm.
and I go to the dog pen, and I put the dogs one dog in the pen, and I put the feed down, and I'd shoot again. If he'd turn and go back in the house, I'd pick it up. The next day, go out there and let him take 2 or 3 bites, just enough to keep him living,
Yeah.
uh, and do the same thing, and back and forth and back and forth and back and forth. And then once he starts taking a few bites, well, I'd go to the shotgun, and I'd shoot at the house and put the food down and do the same thing. In about 3 weeks, that's what it takes. About 3 weeks, when you shoot at the house, he's up on that pen waiting for you.
Hmm.
And that's where I related it to something good,
Yeah.
and that's how I broke the dogs from gun shyness as they were.
Yeah.
And I hunted my dogs. I used a whistle. I got used to the whistle with the bird dogs, and
Mm-hmm.
uh, they they learn that whistle quick because what I do, I put the shock collar on and I watch them in the woods, watch them running, and if they make sure that they wasn't running any game, and I blow that whistle twice and put the shock on.
Okay.
And when they do that, they'd come back to you.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I'd stoop down and pet them up, and something bit you, buddy, but just play with them and let them go again. And about 15, 20 minutes later, do the same thing. And about the third time you do it, when you blow that whistle, they are coming.
Mm-hmm.
Then if they get on unwanted game or doing something you don't want them to do, that whistle
Yeah.
is what. And if we hunting and they tree and we can't find the squirrel and start to leave the tree, whenever I start walking, I blow that whistle twice and they off the tree and they going back to hunt.
Now that's something that I think a lot of people probably don't think about today, especially with the newer Garmins. We've got a tone button, and a lot of people tone train their dogs, which I'm guilty of. Not guilty, but I mean I do it as well. And the only problem with that is sometimes we have Garmin failures, and having that whistle, I know I've hunted in the mountains, and sometimes you lose connection with your Garmin, and
right,
you can still blow a whistle, and a dog can hear that whistle from a lot
they can
further
hear
away.
a mile away,
So
and it
I like that.
It works great.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but men, repetition, buddy.
Yeah.
Repetition. Do it and do it and do it and do it, and they pick it up.
Oh, I'm sure. Yeah. You told me that you were real heavy into the Cajun Squirrel Dogs for a while, and you actually helped form the registry, right?
Yeah, I'm the one that got the register started.
What was the reason? Like, what made you think of doing that, and how did that all go out?
Well, Calvin and Robert wanted me to.
Okay.
Yeah, they were doing real good. I just got these people. Well, they suggested those people, I think. Okay. I went to see in Arkansas, Missouri, and
Okay.
the man and lady was white. They were nice, good people. I'd like to know how many kids have killed their first squirrel with me.
Mm-hmm.
I bring a lot of kids hunting, and I do things with St. Jude kids.
Yeah.
I've been up to Memphis 3 times and cooked for the St. Jude kids and their parents at the hospital.
Okay.
And we have a group over here they call I'll get it in a minute. It's a group that had kids that had to go to St. Jude, and they know the expense of it and know how they feel about it,
Mm-hmm.
and they form this organization, and we bring them hunting and take them fishing and do a lot of things with them. They have
That's awesome.
a little dinner every year, and they raise money, and that's what it's for, to bring them hunting and fishing. And I have a crew that would go to Mississippi and take them, and we also bring some wounded warriors on this hunt. And right here at home, we have anything outdoors, is what we call it. And this year was the 7th year that I brought this group on this hunt, and it was 10 kids. And one of the reporters from the TV program in Baton Rouge, his daughter came, and he came and filmed it. And we had the St. Jude kids with us, and he had it on TV for St. Jude Tuesday in Baton Rouge. He had the video on there.
That's awesome.
I have a young lady. She's 16 now, and she's a barrel racer, and she's on a roping team with the rodeo.
Yeah.
A very nice little girl. Well, she'd been, since she was 9, she'd been making this hunt with us. And she just sat back. We killed 13 on that hunt this year. And she just sat back and let the younger one shoot. And then she'd shoot. And she killed 5 that morning. Pretty good shot.
Yeah. Conkey's Outdoors is proud to be a sponsor of Tree Talking Time. Family, hunting, tradition is the Conkey's motto. They understand the importance of passing down the tradition of hound hunting. They are a family-owned business that treats you like family. They also understand the importance of having the gear you need when you need it. Conkey's carries everything for your next hunt, and it ships to your door quick. They also offer great warranties on all tracking systems and financing options. Check them out at conkeys.com. You can also use the code TreeTalkingTime5 in all caps to save as well.
And one of the little boys, he's 15, and we had a little embankment, and we make the same hunt every year. Had a little embankment to go up. So I told him, I said, Hunter, whenever you get to the top, reach back and grab my rifle. So he turned around and got the rifle. And, I started up the hill, and when I looked up, he was standing there with his hand out. And I grabbed his hand, and he pulled me on up. Dog's treed. So, boy, we took off across there, and he was walking on the side of him. He said, Mr. Carlton, he said, boy, time passes, huh? I said, yes, it does. He said, it wasn't that long ago. You was helping me up that hill. So, and his first year, he killed a black squirrel and a fox squirrel.
Nice.
And a dog tree, and we took off, to it, me and my hunting partner. And he came running up between us, and he looked up like that, and he said to us, best day of my life.
That's awesome.
Yeah, and that's what all makes it worthwhile,
Mm-hmm.
Now, my hunting partner that I hunt with most is his name is Mike Waggisback.
Okay.
His son is Tyler Waggisback. Tyler is the 5-time world champion steer wrestler.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. Yeah, this year he won again, and it makes his 5th time.
That's awesome.
He works at it. So if he's home every evening, 5:30, he's wrestling steers. Very good.
Like you said, repetition takes a lot of work.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, what kind of squirrel dogs do you have now?
I have 2 mountain curs.
Okay.
No, I have 4 mountain curs and 2 feist cur mix.
Okay.
And I just got rid of Leica.
Okay.
She was very, very, very good. She was the type of dog when my cur dog would treat. She stands back 30, 40 feet from the tree.
Mm-hmm.
And more than one time every hunt, when you shaking the vine in one tree or trying to find the squirrel in one tree, and a squirrel moves in a tree around it, she's a pig.
There you go.
She's very alert, and we killed 2, at that tree instead of 1. She hunted. She hunted good. She handled good. She'd pick up the squirrel and bring it to you. But I had too many, and a boy wanted it, so I let him have it.
Gotcha. Now we've had quite a few. We've got a handful of Leica guys come on here before. Talk about everything from squirrel and coon hunting with them to bear hunting with them.
Yeah, well, they hog hunt too.
Yeah.
So. Me and one of my grandsons was hunting one day, and the dog's treeing that little thicket, And he started around one side of the thicket, and I was going the other. I got halfway around there. Pawpaw, Pawpaw. Said, what, Murph? He said, bear. I said, where? He said, in the tree. The dog got it treed. I said, oh, no. And about that time, the little bear started, the cub started to go around the mama on the little tree, and it fell out. And
Uh-oh.
I had the Cajun Squirrel Dog. he, he took out after the little bear. I told him, I said, come on, Murph. Boy, the little dog would yelp, 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 yelp. Well, the bear went up another tree, and Murphy got there with me, and we ran in there and grabbed that feist up, and we took off.
Yeah.
That old bear to come down out of that tree and come to us,
Mm-hmm.
So,
That's funny.
I've treed two bobcats,
Okay.
and in my life,
Mm-hmm.
and that bear. One of the oddest things that I've seen. We were squirrel hunting. Had 4 men with me, and the dog treed, and it had a little briar patch right there. And told him, I said, I'll shake the vine, y'all get ready. Well, naturally, you know how it is. When they get to the tree, they stop. They don't go around the tree. You
Yeah.
have to tell them, get on the other side of the tree. So I went in and I shook the vine, and the fox squirrel, red squirrel, and it ran up that tree and had a lot of vines in it and a big pine tree. And that sucker went up that tree and crossed over to the big pine,
Mm-hmm.
and they were shooting, and they didn't touch it. And all of a sudden I heard poof on the ground. I said, what in the world was that? That boy next to me said, I don't know. So I walked around there and looked. They had a coon dead. Undoubtedly, when I shook that vine, he raised his head up, and that squirrel passed by, and they missed the squirrel, but they killed that coon.
What are the odds of that?
Huh? Yeah. You can see some things if you stay in the woods long enough.
Yeah, that's for sure.
I'm gonna tell you the oddest things that I've ever seen with dogs.
Mm-hmm.
It was a bird dog. That dog was retrieving a quail. The quail wasn't dead.
Mm-hmm.
You could see the head moving.
Yeah.
And the dog pointed at another bird.
That's incredible.
That. Huh?
That's incredible. You figure that dog's, carrying a bird. So
yeah,
nose full of scent, that scent's right there under its nose, and then turn around
and the bird was live. That's the thing.
Yeah. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, if you can get a hold of that Squirrel Dog Basics, there's a lot of dogs in there and different people.
Mm-hmm.
I had a old friend in Calvin Booty and Robert Kim and them. He had Cajun Squirrel Dogs.
Mm-hmm.
And Calvin might have mentioned him, James Thompson.
Jimino? Yep.
I used to call Jimino every month before I wrote my article.
Mm-hmm.
And he would give me some kind of junk that he'd make up. And that's why they called him Jimino. He had some junk with him. And I just let my daughter read the article that I wrote about me and Charles Fasola.
Yeah.
And Jamie Les coon hunting one night. I never coon hunted much, but the dogs treed and they couldn't find the coon, and so we left and we got almost to the truck, and the dogs struck again and took off running. Well, Jimino had built a little fire, and the wind was blowing, and we couldn't hear the dogs anymore. So we sat down there by the fire a little while, and boy, after a while, I heard them. I said, oh, I hear them. They treed. And so I said, let's go. Jimino said, I'm going to stay right here by the fire. He said, my knees bother me. So we took off and went over there, and just as we got there, we saw the coon and knocked it out, and they tied the dogs and came back, And he got over there, and Charlie, picking at Jimino, he said, Gemino, he said, you always bragging on that Hank dog. He said, he went over there, he said, almost a mile before he treated that little old coon. He said, that little coon didn't weigh but 8 pounds. Gemino said, well, yeah, but when it left you, it weighed 25. And stuff like that,
Yeah.
And every time I'd call him about things. And he told me about some hogs, and you plant peanuts and sweet potatoes. And when after he'd dig them, well, he'd turn his hogs loose in there and let them eat, but he'd drive them back out about an hour because he didn't want them to tear everything up.
Yeah.
And he said he'd put them in there about a month, and he said they'd be ready to kill. And when I called him, I asked him, I said, what you doing? He said, I'm killing woodpeckers. I said, woodpeckers? He said, yeah. I said, why? He said, well, when I started putting my hogs in a pen, he said, I had laryngitis. So he said, I'd take a stick and beat on the fence post. And he said, the hogs learned that when I beat on the fence post with that stick, that they'd go in there to eat. And he said, I noticed about 3 weeks, he said, the hogs were losing weight. I couldn't understand it. And he said, about that time, a woodpecker started pecking on the tree, and the hogs started running over there. And that's things that he had come up with,
Yeah.
And when we'd go those hunts, everybody was waiting for Gemino to get there and talk to him. And he had some Indian blood in him, and that's what I called him, the old Indian from the pines. He lived in the Pine Grove, Louisiana.
That's too funny.
We had some fun.
For sure, sounds like it. I don't know if you're aware that Full Cry is under new ownership, and they're going to take a lot of those old issues and eventually be able to put it all on the computer to where people can go and look it up. And when they do that, I'm definitely going to have to go back and read your old articles.
Yeah. After I retired, I didn't have time anymore. I've been retired 23 years, and I haven't woke up a day that I didn't have something to do.
There you go.
I stayed busy.
Typically, it's the opposite. Typically, when you retire, you have more time.
Yeah, not me.
You kept yourself busy, huh?
Busy, yeah. I had heart surgery when I was 42.
Okay.
And my daddy died at 49 with a heart attack. We was pinning cattle for these people, and he was actually going to throw the rope on a calf whenever he fell off, hit the ground dead. And having heart surgery, there's 7 of us in the family, and all of us had heart problems. But knowing it was there, we kept a step ahead.
Yeah.
I went to have a treadmill just to get a base on, to get started.
Yeah.
And I had a treadmill on Wednesday. I had a heart cath Monday. I had 3 bypasses. I had to let them make it just like my dad had. So watching what I ate, exercising,
Yeah.
And one day I was talking to my brother, my older brother. He's 10 years older than me. And I was telling him, I said, I'm not a night person, but I said, I always tried to do all I could in one day. And he told me, he said, we never did talk about this before, but he said, I'm like that too. And what it was, not thinking that we was going to live that long.
Yeah.
We always tried to do everything from daylight to dark.
Well, that's pretty good then. If you had, your dad died at 49, you had heart surgery at 42, and you're 81 now, so.
Yeah, I'm the youngest in the family, and I lost 3 sisters in 18 months last year, year before. And, but we had each other 80 years, all 7. So, you can't cry about that because, we did have each other that long.
Yeah. Stone Creek Hound Supply, a family-operated business, boasts over 50 years of involvement in hounds. For over 2 decades, they've been dedicated to supplying high-quality hound gear. Their reputation is founded on unparalleled quality and exceptional customer service. Crafted from U.S. source materials, Stone Creek clothing is meticulously manufactured right here in Pennsylvania. Through their commitment to excellence, many of their customers have become lifelong friends. Well, you got any more good stories about hunting these squirrel dogs?
Well, the year I retired, and old boy, that was before Katrina hit down here and everything.
Mm-hmm.
We did. I mean, excellent. We killed some squirrels, but bringing people hunting with us,
Mm-hmm.
and, they have to have orange. They have to have at least an orange cap to go with me, and they have to understand that we do not shoot anything on the ground.
Mm-hmm.
But after Katrina, this Hurricane Andrew hit, we hunted a lot in northwest Louisiana with some people, and we had a real good time up there with them. They lived, rural,
Okay.
and one of them was on the Louisiana Parole Board, and we'd go when he'd be off. We'd go up there sometimes and hunt, 2 or 3 days, morning and evening, and cook. And we hunted even on the Army base, Fort Polk. One of the fellows hunting with us was a air traffic controller.
Okay.
And he knew where all the exercises were being held, on the post. And we'd make some hunts there. My grandchildren, one day we were hunting, and the fella hunting with us and his father, and the dog had treed. We was going to the tree, and we was moving up. Said, he kept looking back. And finally the boy asked him, said, "Daddy, what you looking for?" He said, "Well, I'm looking to see where Cade is." He said, "Daddy, Cade is on the other side of the tree where his papa told him he better be." Well, you coming from one way, that dog came from that way, and the squirrel goes in a tree. 9 times out of 10, that squirrel's not coming back toward you.
Yeah.
When you get him to move, he's going the other way. So the boys, they knew, whenever you get to the tree, you don't stop. You go around to the other side of the tree.
Yep.
But we have those boys, I've seen them squirrel bill out the top of a pine tree, and they'd hit it in the air.
Wow.
They could really shoot. Yeah.
That's awesome.
One of my boys, the oldest grandson, when he was 9, he killed 3 squirrels with me that week with 22 rifles.
Nice. Very impressive.
They learned to shoot,
Mm-hmm.
whenever they're young. And my son just retired, and he moved to Mississippi, and he's got a nice place. And when you walk off of his place here in that Homachilla National Forest,
Mm-hmm.
and we hunt a lot up in there in the Mississippi Delta.
Yeah.
Real fine places to hunt,
I've heard. I've yet to make it down there, but I've heard.
Yeah.
It's a little far for me.
Yeah. I've had one person come from upstate New York and bought a puppy. He told me that he was talking on the phone. I could hear his wife saying something. And he said, "Just a minute, Miss Neville." Came back and said, "My wife wants to know if we go down there and buy that puppy from you, will you cook us some of that jambalaya?" I said, "Yeah." I do a lot of benefit things, and I cook. We have a Downs and Special Kids hayride coming up.
Okay.
April the 27th, and I'll be cooking We'd be cooking 40 pounds of rice in this jambalaya, and we'd be
Wow.
cooking it in one pot.
Wow.
But we have cooked more than that. Uh, and I have a recipe for squirrel jambalaya.
Okay.
Do you want to hear it?
Absolutely.
Okay. We find that 6 people to a pound of rice.
Okay.
All right. So this recipe feeds 12. It's 2 pounds of rice, 4 pounds of squirrels cut up on the bone, 1 pound of sausage, 2 pounds of regular white onions, 1.8 quarts of water, 2.60 tablespoons of salt, 1.26 tablespoons of garlic powder,
Okay.
0.14 black pepper, and 0.04 of red pepper. All right, you brown your squirrels in a cast iron, black pot if you have one.
Yeah.
And once you brown your squirrels, you put your onions in and stir them and get those brown. And once you get the onions brown, well, you put your water in and boil the squirrels until they start getting tender. Then you add all your seasoning. And once you get everything in it and it comes to a boil and your meat is getting tender, you put your rice in. Stir it 2 or 3 times. And once the water comes back to a boil, you put your lid on it, you lower your fire, and leave the lid on it for 25 minutes. Don't take it off. And when you take it off, the rice will be cooked. And you got a squirrel jambalaya.
Nice.
I have a recipe here. We cook pork most of the time.
Okay.
Pork and sausage.
Mm-hmm.
But birds are good, like that. But I have it from 1 pound of rice to 85 pounds with the ingredients for each pound all the way across.
Jeez.
So if I'm cooking 40 pounds of rice tomorrow tonight, I'll mix my seasoning, and once I get my water in there and everything, I'll put my seasoning in and stir it up, and I don't even taste it. That's we've done it so long, and
Yeah.
times it just goes.
That's incredible.
Right here, there's a school next door to me, in the middle school, the 7th graders
Mm-hmm.
go over there one Wednesday a month after school and teach those 7th graders how to cook jambalaya on wood on an open fire.
There you go. That's
And
pretty cool.
this is my 23rd year to do that. So the Jambalaya Festival here in Gonzales, Louisiana is the jambalaya capital of the world.
Okay.
And
No wonder you know how to do it so well.
every year they have the competition cooking, and they invite all the queens, the crawfish queen, the strawberry queen, all over the state to come to it.
Mm-hmm.
And we bring our little mini pots that we teach the kids at school with, and set them up, and these queens compete against each other. It's real nice. So I have all the pretty girls.
There you go. There is every year there is a world championship squirrel cook-off up in Arkansas. You should go up there and enter your jambalaya.
Yeah, well, 81 years old, I don't think I would have done it, when I was young. Did you talk to a fellow by the name of Dennis Elan?
No.
No.
Who's that?
He's a dog trainer. wrote some articles in that Squirrel Dog Basic
Okay.
thing.
No, I've had Calvin and Robert both on. Like I said, I have had Stacy Barger on, Todd Coles.
Todd Cole, yeah, very good people.
Yeah, so I've had some.
Oh, do you have they talked about the feist LT?
I don't think so. I don't remember that.
LT was the national champion. He was some of that sport breed.
Okay.
Uh, Tom Big Taz was a real good dog, and LT came out of Taz and Pine Belt Sandy. I had LT when he was 7 months old. I trained him, and he ended up being a national champion.
Nice.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he's very good. I had him and his sister. Both of them were real nice dogs.
Mm-hmm. What's your preference as far as a squirrel dog, like style wise?
I like a dog that's 100, 150 yards. We have these swamps and things down here, so a long-legged, dog, something that can go through the water.
Mm-hmm.
But as long as the dog trees and stays on the tree for me, that's all I'm, worried about.
Okay.
And I'll work a dog till it's a year old. It has to be showing me some kind of promise to keep it over a year old.
Yeah.
But mountain cur, mountain feist, Cajun Squirrel Dogs, they all reproduce and are real good squirrel dogs.
Mm-hmm.
I do not put up with a dog that's still around the tree.
Yeah.
Because I hunt with too many people.
Oh, for sure.
And if your dog jumps on mine, you know where to do that. And that's just about like you jumping on me.
Mm-hmm.
I like a dog that can be around other dogs.
Yep.
Tree with another dog and not cause any problems.
No, I completely understand. I've had to get rid of a few that were a little ill, so I get it.
Yeah.
They didn't stay here either.
Mm-hmm. Well, if they know he's like that, when we get to the tree, tie your dog up.
Mm-hmm.
It's that simple, before the squirrel hits the ground.
Yep. Well, have anything else? Any other words of wisdom?
Oh, I'll think about something when we hang up. I might have bent your ear too much.
No, not at all. This is perfect. I really enjoyed it. I appreciate you coming on.
Well, I enjoy hunting and I enjoy being with people, and you can just walk alone and shoot the bull and have a good time.
Mm-hmm.
And I really enjoy the kids.
Yeah.
Teaching them. But these 10 kids that I was telling you about that I hunted with, 7 years, all 10 of those kids killed their first squirrel with me.
That's awesome. And
it's every once in a while, boy, we were making sausage this weekend, deer and pork sausage at my son's place. And when I walked up, one of my friends came over there. He said, "Carlton," he said, when Kane come over here, ask him if he's been turkey hunting. So we were talking, boy, after a while. Hey, Mr. Carlton, boy, came over and shook my hand and everything, And we talked a little bit, and I leaned over and said, "Kane, you been turkey hunting?" "Oh, man." He said, "Daddy told you that you'd missed 2 turkeys the day before."
Oh, that's funny.
Yeah. I turkey hunt. I killed some nice turkeys up there with the people that had the Cajun Squirrel Dog registry.
Okay.
yeah, they had some nice, but yeah, I like to do that too.
Mm-hmm. When you're gearing up for that, huh?
Yeah, yep. It's open right now. We my wife's on hospice care,
I'm sorry to hear that.
so I have to get sitters to come over so I can get out of the house and do anything.
Yeah, I understand.
Well, I hope I helped you.
No, you really did. Also, I wanted to include, if you want to give any way to get in contact with you for about the vest that you make, you can. If not, you don't have to. That's totally up to you.
I got tired of buying that junk,
Mm-hmm.
and I started making them,
Mm-hmm.
and I used that 100 denier couture
Yeah.
material,
Mm-hmm.
and they last.
I
You
was
put a
told.
load in them, they will not pull back on you. And I have them in the hunter's orange and the camouflage.
Okay.
And there's two pockets right on the front for your garment, one for your garment and one for your water bottle.
Okay.
And there's a large pocket on the back of the game pouch that you can put your toilet paper, whatever you want to, you know.
Yeah.
And it's not in your main vest.
Very nice.
So they like them.
Like I said, if you want to give any information on how people can order them, feel free.
I'll send you one of my cards.
Okay.
I'll take a picture of it and show it.
Sounds good.
All right, buddy.
All righty. Thank you. You can find me on Facebook and Instagram at Tree Talking Media. And until next time, keep them talking in the timber.